One city in Nigeria is the fourth wealthiest city on the African continent. It is among the top 10 of the world's fastest growing cities and urban area, a major financial, educational, and cultural center in sub-Saharan Africa. That city is the city of Lagos. Welcome to the city of aquatic splendor. Welcome to the city of Lagos TV show. You're still watching the City of Lagos TV show. Welcome to From the Governor's Office segment on the show, where we bring you latest activities and official engagements of Mr. Governor. First, the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, recently signed into law the year 2023 appropriation bill as passed and transmitted to Mr. Governor, with key state assembly members, government officials, strategic ministries, and cabinet members present. The governor will give a brief breakdown of the budget, noted that the budget is a people-oriented budget that speaks to the aspirations and needs of Lagosians. He, however, thanked the State House of Assembly and the other members of the team for a job well done.
2023 appropriation bill that was passed and transmitted to me by the Lagos State House of Assembly. The total budget size is 1,768,414,155,285 naira, which is 1,768,014,155.28, which comprises of 1,019,917,646,713 naira as capital and 748,096,508,571 as recurrent expenditure, which gives us a capital to recurrent ratio of 58 to 42%. Thank you very much. I think we deserve a round of applause for that. This budget is titled the Budget of Continuity, and our main focus being the last budget and the first tenure of our administration, which will end on May 29, 2023. Is the completion of all our ongoing projects. Some of these projects, which we know are like the Blue Rail projects, which we have just finished, the Red Line project, which is still ongoing, 37 kilometers from Oyinbo to Agbado, the beginning of the phase 2 of the Blue Line project from Mile 2 to Kokomaiko. In the budget, it has projects continuation, hospital construction in Ojo. It has mental health hospital in Ketu, road networks in Badagry, in Ojo, in Amuwo, in Ikorodu, in Etiosa, school work and school new projects all around the states, and other developmental projects. You will know that a comprehensive analysis and breakdown of this budget will be provided by the Honorable Commissioner for Economic Planning and his team in due course. And like he had said, this has been a very, very rigorous exercise that the Honorable Commissioner has explained, and it has gone through all of the channels that we require to ensure that we have a life document and a budget that speaks to the aspiration and to the needs of Lagosians. And so therefore, I want to express my profound appreciation to the entire leadership of the Lagos State House of Assembly, starting with the Speaker, the Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, and all the 39 other members for your timely consideration and taking it through a rigorous exercise to which you were completely independent, and you were thorough with this assignment, knowing fully well that you are representing the larger constituent, which are the people of Lagos. I want to thank you all very, very much. I want to thank the administrators, drafting department, the clerk, the deputy clerk, and all the staff of the Lagos State House Assembly that has been part of this entire exercise. We're indeed happy and we're grateful that you have done a good job, and the Lagosians that will be the beneficiaries of this budget can't thank you enough.
The Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, was a witness to the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the Lagos State Internal Revenue Services (LIRS) and the Federal Inland Revenue Services (FIRS). The governor, in an interview with newsmen after the ceremony, noted that the MOU will bring about efficient and profitable tax administration in the state.
What do we see at the end of it? We see a more efficient tax administration. We see a better GDP growth of the federal government and the state government, and eventually it is the citizens that benefit from. The government will have a bit more resources to be able to do the things for which it has promised the citizens. And like I said, it will be clear, it will be obvious for everyone to see, and we can hold ourselves accountable. So I'm truly excited with the collaboration. Everybody have said we're one of the lowest tax to GDP in the world. And so even if we double the effort, the percentage we have now, we'll probably just be meeting up with some other nation. So we have not even started at all. With the size of our economy as a country, we need to do a lot now. So that's why I'm excited. That's why we've seen the need and the benefit that comes with it. And we believe that our job is accomplished. Just go out there and do the job.
The gubernatorial rally at Epe ahead of the 2023 general elections was indeed a great carnival of some sort, with APC faithfuls in Epe turning out in the large numbers. On his arrival at the venue, Governor Sanwo-Olu swung into action with songs of praise from Kwamwan and party faithfuls on stage.
Sanwo-Olu, you are a leader. You are a leader. You are a tí mo gbà fún Sanwo-Olu mi.
The governor, who spoke in Yoruba language, presented all the candidates vying for various positions from Epe. He equally highlighted some significant achievements in Epe to the admiration of the people.
NNPC progress. The great Nigerian youth students.
Great.
The great Nigerian students.
Great.
The greatest of the greatest of the greatest.
Great.
The great youths in Epe and Lagos.
You are a leader. You are a leader. You are a Sanwo-Olu. You are a leader. You are a leader. You are a leader. You are. There is one man we want to see. Oh, there is one man we want to see. There is one man we want to see. Oh, there is one man we want to see. Hey, we want to see Mr. Governor. Hey, we want to see Mr. Governor. Hey, we want to see Mr. Governor. There is one APC from head to bottom. APC
Progress.
Kulu
Temper.
Kulu
Temper.
of the greatest Nigeria student. Kulu.
Ẹ ṣé gan ni. Lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ mo fẹ́ tọrọ gáfárà gbogbo ìṣẹ́jú díẹ̀ tí mo kí tó dé Àbújá la ti ń bọ̀ o kó bá lè dá náà là ń bá káàkiri ó ṣe pé mo fẹ́ fojú di mo dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé èrò yẹn ti ń dúró dè mí ti pẹ́ so mo kọ́ fẹ́ tọrọ gáfárà ṣé ẹ dáríjì mí ẹ yọwọ́ sókè pé ẹ dáríjì mí inú mi náà dùn Ẹ̀pẹ́ rèé o Ìbẹ̀jú Lẹ́kì rèé o Àgbọ̀wá rèé o Kétu Èjì rèé o elédòrè o erédòrè o ṣe wèrò ṣe rí wọn inú mi dùn pé ìdúró dè mí lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ mo fẹ́ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo yín pé ẹ tú jáde ẹ wá bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́ni mo fẹ́ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo àwọn GAC members wa tó wà bí bàbá bámú wọ́n wà bí bámú elépo mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ bàbá Ògúnlẹ̀wẹ̀ mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo yín mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn gbogbo àwọn leaders wa Dr. Tola Kasali His Excellency Senate Speaker Ikuforiji àti Bọ̀dé Oyèdélé jókòó pẹ̀lú mi Wazat tó wà bí WhatsApp Honorable Tunde Isiaq gbogbo àwọn leaders wa chairman party wa gbogbo àwọn local government chairman gbogbo àwọn LGA chairman gbogbo ìparapata ni mo kí o gbogbo àwọn youth leaders àwọn community leaders the Arewa community the Indigbo community the Nupe community gbogbo ìparapata ni mo kí lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ mo rí pé ẹ ti rí wọn ṣùgbọ́n senator wa ti senatorial east ọmọ tó fi yangàn most distinguished senator Tokunbo Abiru wọ́n wá ń bí ẹ bá ń fún ọ ní ìbò ní lẹ́yìn yẹn House of Rep wa honourable wa Wálé Rájí àwọn náà wá ń bí yo Wálé Rájí ni o ìbò lẹ́yìn yẹn honourable Balógun House of Rep ti Bẹ̀júlẹ́kì ọmọ wa ni o òun ló máa ṣe o ìbò lẹ́yìn yẹn House of Assembly àwọn dà honourable Tọ̀bùn àbí tọ̀bùn kọ́ tọ̀bùn ìbò ni o tọ̀bùn ẹ ṣe Ògúnkèlú skẹtẹ ìbò ni o lẹ́yìn yẹn Ọládélé Àjàyí láti Bẹ̀júlẹ́kì òun dà ọmọ yín ni o ṣe ti rí báyìí Ọládélé Àjàyí ọmọ yín lápapọ̀ Honourable Mojid Fatai òun náà tún padà lọ ní o House of Assembly àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́.
On behalf of the 4.1 million battalion students schooling in Lagos, yes, that the governor has given us mandate, has helped us in a lot of ways, which the only thing we can give the governor is our PVC and our vote. We hereby endorse Governor Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu.
Ahead of the 2023 governorship election, students and their leaders from all tertiary institutions in Lagos State endorsed Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for a second term in office recently at a rally in Lagos. Before the endorsement, various student leaders praised Mr. Governor for his excellent performance in the education sector in Lagos State.
Mr. Governor, we want to appreciate you. Yes, no student in Lagos State will ever say, our governor has not done anything. Yes, we appreciate you firstly for the upgrading you did. The upgrading was a top notch. Yes, everybody were like, Sheikh Onikoni. Is it only Lagos? But they don't know that we have a governor that cares so much about us.
I would love to appreciate our performing governor. You've done well for we the indigenes of Lagos State. First, I appreciate you for giving us our bursary and scholarship. God bless you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for increasing our bursary and scholarship. Then we used to collect 25,000. Now we're collecting 50,000. Three go, sir, for our governor. Go, sir. Go, sir. Go, sir.
In his response, the governor thanked the students for his endorsement and promised them better days ahead in the educational sector under his administration.
For coming to validate all we have started doing with you in your various universities. I want to thank you. I'm sure you are beginning to see meaningful development in your schools. When they were striking the whole of the country, all the higher institutions in Lagos were not in one-day strike. All the higher institutions in Lagos State, you do not lose one day of strike. You were in the university, you were working, and you were working very well. I want to thank you. I want to pray that as you have gone in, you will come out successfully. What we're about is about your future. It's about providing opportunity for you. It's about ensuring that you have a future that you can rely on. You have a future that you can depend on. We have no other country. This is our country. This is our state. It's for us to create that ambience, that opportunity where some of you will become business owners. You will become entrepreneurs. You will become leaders in your own community. You will become civil society advocates. You will become professionals in whatever you want to do. That is what this government is about. And that is what we are asking you to support us, to work with us, and we'll make sure that it happens. You have seen that all of our promises in the history of Lagos State, we moved from one university to 3 universities. I want to thank you all for supporting me, for agreeing with me that that's the best thing we should do. And to all your vice chancellors that are here, I want to thank you all very much. We are on the conversation of making our universities the best, not only in the country, but compete with the best in the world. LASU already is one of the best in the country. It's already one of the best in the world. The 2 other universities will also attain that level very, very, very soon. And that's what we're about. That's what you are voting for. You are voting for your future. You are voting for the future of your children that are coming behind you. And you are voting for generations that are coming. And that's why we're asking you that your vote is a vote for APC.
And finally, from the governor's office, in fulfillment of his campaign promises in the area of road infrastructure development in Lagos State, the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, formally commissioned the Etiosa and Lekki-Ekpe Expressway from a 2-lane rural road to a 6-lane concrete road with the flag off of the phase 2 of the project. The governor will promise Lagosians to deliver other strategic road projects in that axis of the state. Thanks the people for their support and collaboration.
You can see excitement within our citizens. You can see excitement in our local community. Because this is a government that says a thing and it keeps to its promise. About 2.5 years ago, in November 2020, we received several distress calls. We applied on this road from Eleko Junction to Ekpe with a lot of agony and pain. And we came out and we told our citizens that we're going to bring a permanent solution to this road that was constructed as a rural road over 40 years ago. It used to be a 2-lane road. But because of development, because of the growth that we have seen on the Bejuleki, Etiosa to Ekpe corridor, it became obvious that the road could not serve our people again. It became deplorable and it became unusable. And so in November 2020, we said we were going to reconstruct completely this 18.75 kilometer road. And today, we're thankful to God because we have transformed from a 2-lane rural road to a 6-lane rigid concrete road with full complement of all of the road infrastructure, including street lights with drainage complements. And this, we can say, is one of the best roads that you can see in any part of this country. Because we believe our citizens on this corridor deserves the very best. We cannot shortchange you. You don't deserve our measures. You deserve the very, very best and the best in class. And that's why we're happy that you are also happy with the retinue of our traditional institutions that are here, with the complement of all our religious leaders that are here, with the complement of all our community leaders, our political leaders that are here, that you have come to confirm and validate our decision to build this road. And because you know that we're a listening government, and the fact that you cry to us is not because you just want to be a complainer, because you believe we can do it. And you said to us, we should continue with the phase 2 of it. And you can see that the phase 2
also has started. And the phase 2 is not just reconstruction, it's also widening into 6 lanes. What more can be referred to as the real dividend of democracy?
And that's the picture from the Governor's Office segment on the City of Lagos TV show. The show will continue in a moment. Stay tuned.
A very good day, Lagosians. It's another time of the year that indeed will come out all to exercise our voting rights. And so I urge you all to vote for people that you know have the competence, they have the character, they have the capacity to deliver what they have promised. Mr. Governor, Mr. Deputy Governor, they have indeed promised Lagosians that they will deliver infrastructure to them concerning areas around Lekki to Ekpe Expressway, phase 1, which is completed to the glory of God. They have done Okpebi Mende construction work, which they said they would finish before May 2023. We have said we will do Obashekumade. That road is also delivered and finished. Penn Cinema, as you are all aware, is also finished. We have delivered. We promised you we will close out on Tedimowo Bridge, which we have done. We promised you we will close out on 31 network of roads in Ojokoro, in Ifakojai. We have also done Lagos-Ota road boundary, road and bridge. We have finished the Shefun Camp Davis Road. Ishuti Road is also finished. We have finished the Ijede Road, the 6-kilometer Ijede Road, and quite a number of roads and networks around Ikoyi, around Victoria Island, around Oniru network of Saku, around Bariga. What this speaks to me is that this administration is indeed serious about providing this infrastructure. We have promised you that we also would start on the Fort Mainland Bridge and come to a financial close. Please be ready to bring Mr. Governor and Mr. Deputy Governor back into government again. Igbegba Ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó, àjùmọ̀ṣe gbogbo wa ni o.
You're still watching the City of Lagos TV show, and of course, welcome to the special, very strategic segment. We call it Transport Lagos. And of course, we know, considering the geographical position of a cosmopolitan city like Lagos, water dominates a larger percentage of the landmass. Looking at the intramodal transport system, talking about rail, road, and water, Lagos State has actually expended energy, huge investment to make water transportation following the mantra of one of the agencies we're going to be looking at. We're talking about travel water, travel safe. It's my pleasure to welcome the General Manager of the Lagos State Waterways Authority, LASWA. This is one of the strategic agencies that has been saddled with the responsibility of making water transportation the safest and, of course, the most reliable transport system in Lagos. You're welcome, Mr. Oluwadamilola Emmanuel. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
First, water transportation is a fundamental means of transport for a state which has its landmass covered with water. So what is the level of creativity, initiative, and strategies is LASWA taken to take full advantage of this potential?
Thank you very much. I think first of all, critically is identifying what areas are accessible by water in Lagos. And the state government over the last 30, 40 years has been very intentional in identifying those areas and ensuring that people in those areas can have access to other parts of town through the waterways. So we see a lot of infrastructure which has been built in terms of jetties and recently, in recent times, terminals, which we call, which are much bigger than the jetties, but they are the infrastructure which enables you embark and disembark and be able to get to your final destination. So we first of all saw those infrastructure being set up over the years. And now what's happening is upgrading that infrastructure now, because when they were built back then, it was more for communities, and communities were crossing from one community to another. But where we now have people now coming to the central business areas from those outer communities, it's very important that we upgrade those infrastructure to be able to meet with the current demand of today. So we've seen some of those concrete jetties which were built back in the day now have what we call floating pontoons attached to them, which allows for multiple berthing. We've seen, Lagos transition from the open boats to the closed boats, and then even now to the bigger boats, which can take 40 to 50 personnel. So we've seen in terms of infrastructure, now the jetties, terminals, the boats, and also now even deploying technology to be able to ensure that people can now, through technology, make payment for boat operations, even though that's currently functional just on Lagos ferry services, where people can also now even track their movements through technology as well. And people can also even alert the agency in terms of any emergency, and then we can easily respond. So we've seen a lot of that as well. And even for us as an agency, to be able to ensure that we have the visuals of the waterways through technology. By sitting in an office, we're able to adequately monitor and track what is going on the waterways. So in terms of the jetties and terminals being built, in terms of the boats themselves, and of course, in terms of even the emergency and safety services, through technology, we've seen a lot of improvements.
There's been several initiatives and achievements of the agency since you came on board. Can you just catalog what are the major, very significant landmark achievements of last work?
Majorly, we've been able to optimize existing infrastructure. There were infrastructure which were lying dormant, which we had to upgrade, and which now has become, we call the pride of the waterways. One of them, for example, is the Ikorodu terminal, which now even has a fuel dump, apart from the fact that we have boats berthing there, which has, supermarkets in there, shopping complex, adequate parking, park and ride for passengers. They were using a local jetty just by the side, a wooden jetty. But now we have a modernized full terminal with a building and even a floating pontoon attached to it as well, with effective park and ride services, and of course a fuel dump as well now for them. So that was just one of the major achievements. Secondly, we've also been able to increase our water guards, which we call our own water guards, our own personnel on the waterways. And this has led to a significant decrease in the amount of incidents we've seen on the waterways. It has helped to increase the safety levels because we now have adequate coverage at each of these jetties and terminals. Initially, we had about 48 personnel. Right now, as we speak, we have 108 personnel. So 60 were added to that number, and we've seen the impact of that as well. Of course, another achievement is the first of its kind in sub-Saharan Africa, an inland waterways control, which was commissioned late last year by Mr. Governor himself. And that is to enable us begin to gather adequate data to make informed decisions for the waterways, enable us to be able to begin to track the movement of the vessels, both cargo and passenger vessels on the waterways, enables us in terms of being able to respond in terms of emergencies as well. And then obviously as well, we've also seen the importance of the awareness and sensitization of the wearing of the life jackets. We've been able to propagate that as well a lot more. And finally, it's critical to understand that no government can fund transportation on its own. You need foreign direct investment. And we've also been able to attract investment from both the British and even the French as well, and several other interests from other countries. So we've seen that investment being made by the British and the French governments as well to the waterways.
What has been the level of human capacity building strategy of last work? Because water transportation requires some level of expertise. Really.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's been very, very important for us. Now we're almost double the size of the admin structure we used to have from years ago. it's been very important that we have been very dynamic in making sure we're meeting with international best practices. So part of this foreign investment that LASWA has attracted has come with a critical component of capacity building, because there's no point building all of the infrastructure or coming with investment for infrastructure when you are not carrying out any kind of capacity building for the human staff themselves. So the foreign investment has actually led to several trainings, retrainings, programs, mostly locally. We've had one or two international, but international was just for the exposure to see how things work over there as well. But mainly it's been building the local capacity to be able to ensure that we can, deliver on an integrated transportation system in Lagos State.
GM, let's look at your monitoring, regulatory and enforcement role. Because management of the waterways actually requires some level of effective monitoring and regulation. So what is the framework like for Lagos waterways, and how have you been able to carry out some level of enforcement?
For the waterways sector, being a developing sector, we've employed a carrot and a stick approach. And the reason why I said a carrot approach is that the government is providing the enabling environment for operators to thrive and all stakeholders to enjoy the waterways. But at the same time, which you've also mentioned, is the enforcement bit of it. As you know, without enforcement, we're just going to leave room for all kinds of breaking of rules and regulations. So the state government, the LASWA has a monitoring team which is assigned to the waterways, which goes on daily patrols to ensure that the operators are abiding by the rules and regulations. We've also strategically partnered with the federal government and also other state agencies to ensure that we can monitor our waterways adequately. One of those, of course, is LASEMA, to be able to ensure that we can respond to emergency much quicker. We also have the neighborhood watch as well, which we're partnering with, to be able to ensure that beyond the closing times of the waterways, we don't have people who are trying to break those rules at night and have night travel. There have been cases which obviously sometimes even led to loss of lives, and we've even actually had to, of course, those people who were involved had to face the full wrath of the law and be fully penalized. And of course, we've had several kind of incidents as well. But apart from that, what we've done to be able to ensure a proper framework is that we have now situated our emergency and response services to cover the east, the west, and the central. That way, we're able to respond and able to monitor adequately, effectively and efficiently. So that, because obviously you have to minimize resources and make sure you adequately utilize existing resources as well.
Is LASWA generating revenue from its operations?
Absolutely.
And how has it been really?
Well, it's been good. It continues to increase, especially as we've seen a lot more movement even around the cargo operations on the waterways, where people are trying to, obviously we're trying to decongest Apapa in terms of trucks moving on the roads, where people are now using barges to move containers. We've seen a significant increase in that, and of course they had to be obviously they had to pay the appropriate fees to ensure that we're fully regulating that whole operations as well. We've seen more boats coming into the waterways as well. That's increased. We've seen jetty fees, concession fees, and of course penalties. And of course there's advertisements as well on the waterways as well.
For an agency of this nature, there are likely going to be some level of challenges. What are the challenges you've faced, and how have you been able to surmount these challenges?
Well, the truth about it, there are no challenges, that maybe we're not really a functioning agency. Every agency would have challenges. I think critical to our challenges, of course, will be funding. As you know, every agency will face that. But with every challenge, it presents an opportunity, and you have to make sure you are innovative, which is one of the things you spoke about as we're starting. We have to bring about innovation even with those challenges. And of course, another challenge is cross-cutting functions. We have federal agencies, even some state agencies as well, who have some sort of cross-cutting functions. But with all of these challenges, we found a way to make sure that these agencies, these issues bring about the opportunities for us to exploit and harness, and has brought about collaboration for us as an agency as well, which has been very critical to part of the success stories we've been able to achieve. So I would say funding, cross-cutting functions are really the main challenges we've had.
Okay, in case you're just tuning in, you're watching Transport Lagos on the City of Lagos TV show, and we'll be speaking with the General Manager of LASWA. Now, GM, how would you appraise the level of support from the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, to ensuring that LASWA live up to its expectations?
Well, it's been tremendous, and it goes without saying. This is a man who believes in water transport. This is a man who understands the importance of water transport, not just in isolation, but how it links to the road transport and also the rail transport. And as you know, it's all about integration now in Lagos State, and it's very important that you develop all other modes. So he's not left us without support, because he knows that to have an integrated transportation system, every one of these modes must receive significant investment. And that's what he's been focused on. And that's what is done. As we speak, 15 of the jetties and terminals are currently being upgraded. Patrol boats were purchased. The control room was set up. Our emergency and rescue unit was upgraded. And first of its kind, a device called a USAFE. I was trying to leave that for later, but as well, so I have to speak about that now as a USAFE. It's actually an emergency equipment that, in terms of any emergency, is remote controlled. It can actually go rescue anybody who's stuck on the waterways, or anybody who happens to fall on the waterways and needs to be rescued. You know, so significantly, of course, has also invested in capacity building for the staff of LASWA as well, and for us to expand to be able to ensure we have more safety personnel as well. So significantly, we've received his support, you know, in terms of the required investment that is needed, and of course the encouragement as well that we can do this. And he's a leader who has his ears to the ground, knows everything that is going on, and obviously he's switched on.
Thank you very much. Now, this administration is going to be rounded up soon, at least for this term, and from all indication, considering his very impactful achievements and giant strides, Mr. Governor is working seriously for the second term ticket, and which is obvious is the man to beat, really. And so for LASWA, because in government there's continuum, Lagosians would like to know, what are those areas your agency intends to consolidate on moving forward in the new term?
Critical thing is safety. You can never overbuild or override the importance of safety. Last year was the best year the waterways in the whole of the history of Lagos has ever experienced in terms of the amount of accidents we had. We had just 2 major accidents. Prior to now, you probably had a minimum of 8, 10, sometimes as much as 15 within the year. But it was only 2 major incidents last year, which for us was critical. And it was not because, yes, we prayed and we hoped that things would get better, but we're intentional in building all of the things I mentioned, the safety system that we put in place. So for us, it's continue to build that safety system so that it gets to a point where we even have 0 accidents on our waterways as well, because that will further boost the confidence of passengers and all other users of the waterway. So for us this year as well is to further continue to build on the safety system and ensure we have a robust safety system. Secondly is, of course, to attract the private sector to provide more boats to Lagosians. And thirdly is to see that whole integration happen between the rail, the water, and the road, so that people then have options and they can plan their trips through technology around these 3 modes of transportation. These 3 things are critical for us this year.
Lagos is known as a city of aquatic splendor. And of course, looking at the natural potential of water in relation with tourism, is LASWA doing some kind of thinking in terms of also expanding the tourist opportunities through the waterways?
Well, absolutely. As you know, we provide the enabling environment for tourism to thrive. Even though it's not directly under my ministry, my agency, but we have to work with all tourism stakeholders and practitioners. We've seen a lot more activity from those who are now visiting a lot of the cultural sites, a lot of the historic sites, especially Badagry. We've seen a lot of movement from, for example, the island to Badagry, people visiting, the slave routes, the first building in Nigeria, several other monuments and several other sites in Badagry. We've also seen a lot more people doing tourism activities to Ilashe, Ibeshe, and the likes as well. So definitely the waterways has become a driving force for waterways tourism, and we are seeing that grow massively. We're seeing a lot more people now even visit the beach sites, so we're seeing a lot more in that area.
When we look at your nature of operation, maybe you'd like to share with us, who are those critical stakeholders that LASWA work with, in order for it to be able to achieve its set objectives?
First of all, we're under the Ministry of Transportation. I'm under the Commissioner for Transportation, Dr. Frederick Oladende, and the Permanent Secretary, and also Special Advisor. So we work with the Ministry of Transportation. And beyond the Ministry of Transportation as well, we also work with the Ministry of Waterfront and Infrastructure Development. They are the ones who build the infrastructure, the terminal jetties and terminals, then they hand over to us, who we operate and maintain. Of course, we work with all other state agencies as may require, from LASEMA to Loma Marine. In terms of federal agency, we work with NIWA, National Inland Waterways Authority, who is the federal agency for the inland waterways. We also work with the MPA, Nigerian Ports Authority, with NIMASA as well. We have some engagements as well with NIMASA. That's for the federal agencies as well. Then in terms of the internationally, of course, we've dealt with the Future Cities, which was a UK-funded program to support the waterways. We're now currently working with AFD, Agency for French Development, which is also a French development agency, which is focused on building, seeing how they can impact on third world countries in specific areas as well. So these are some of the areas, and of course in the times past we've had the World Bank as well support the waterways in Lagos State as well.
GM, on a final note, we want to thank you for coming on the program, and what's your word of encouragement to Lagosians and of course assurance to stakeholders on the waterways?
Well, it's to continue to encourage Lagosians that, look, the state government is doing all it can to make sure you use the waterways. We're building safety systems. We're telling you the waterways is safe. Travel water, travel safe. And if you have to use the waterways, please ensure you use your life jackets. Thank you.
Mr. Damilola Emmanuel, the General Manager of the Lagos State Waterways Authority, LASWA, has been speaking to us on Transport Lagos. Of course, he's been able to encapsulate the major strategic achievements of the agency, and of course, giving us futuristic plans and projections of LASWA to make the waterways more safe and more comfortable. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you so much. Pleasure being here.
And the City of Lagos TV show will continue in a moment.
I am Dr. Oluwafemi Damilola Okelsointolu, the Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency. Good people of Lagos State, we are here to serve you, to ensure safety of life and properties. Any life-threatening issues, we are highly privileged to be there for you. We are highly privileged to manage the golden hour, morning, afternoon, and night. We will be there with you. And I appeal to good people of Lagos State to ensure that there is no gap in safety of life and properties. The administration of Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, the executive governor of Lagos State, believes so much on safety of life and properties, and he has put a lot of things in place to ensure this. He has built the capacity of all the primary responders: fire, building controlling agency, safety commissions, and LASEMA. Let us partner for effective, efficient management of disaster in Lagos State. And also, remember, call us on our emergency number, a toll-free number, morning, afternoon, night. 112 or 767. Believe me, we'll be right there to serve you. Ìgbéga ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó àjùmọ̀ṣe ni ó dọwọ́ yín.
Lagos is a city of great opportunities and fortunes. So, love Lagos and live in Lagos. Until we come your way again next week, keep watching the City of Lagos TV show to know more about your city, my city, our city on TV Nigeria. Thanks for watching.